Hello everyone. Welcome to this quick video presentation on Iris automated coding system implementation to achieve causes of death, highlighting on the topic Iris certificate database. This video presents information on Iris, a software developed and maintained by the Iris Institute. My name is Ms. Ankita Sangle and I am working as an Iris IT specialist with the CDC Foundation, supporting Data for Health initiative activities in India. I support the Iris implementation and maintenance activity in MCGM through the Unit for Strengthening Cause of Death data based at the Tata Memorial Center. In this quick video, I am going to explain the role of Iris certificate database in the Iris automated ICD-10 coding system. So firstly, we need to know that Iris uses two different databases, namely the certificates database and the tables database. Here, the certificates database contains death certificate records, also known as lots. And the Iris tables database contains all the tables needed to analyze cause of death expressions. They usually have a standardized file names assigned as shown respectively. Also, the Microsoft Access is the default database deployed with the Iris setup. Please note that both the databases are provided by Iris in the installation folder. Now, let's get to know about the tables present in the certificates database deployed by Iris. There are two tables, namely Ident and MedCod. With that, let us consider the Iris default database Microsoft Access as an ideal example here. These tables have their attributes defined by Iris. Attributes are the various columns used in the tables. You can see that to name the Ident and MedCod table, one needs to add a prefix, here represented as 4 times x, which can be a string containing letters, numbers, or combination of both, as shown in the examples respectively. Also, one can simply create multiple Ident and MedCod tables using the existing table structures. The Ident and MedCod tables, both when joined together, form a lot in Iris, and that's how one can create multiple lots in Iris. Moving on, let us see how to prepare lots in Iris using Microsoft Access database. As one of the most important concepts of database is primary key, which uniquely identifies the records in the tables. Here you can see that the certificate key is the attribute that forms a primary key for the ident table, namely reference ident, whereas the certificate key and line NB attributes both constitute as the primary key for the medcode table, namely reference medcode, together forming a lot named reference, which is also a predefined lot by Iris in the deployed Iris certificates database. To prepare more such lots, one needs to copy the existing table structures of both ident and MedCod. Then, while pasting the table, one can rename the ident and MedCod table with chosen prefix name, and in the paste option, select either the structure only or structure with data option accordingly, or one can also select append the data to existing table options. This process either creates or updates a lot. Here, as shown with a chosen prefix name as test. Please note that one must rename both the tables ident and medcode with a same prefix name to prepare a lot. To get started with the certificates database, it is important to know how to load it into Iris. It can be achieved by traversing through the tools, then options, which opens the options window, and select the certificate database tab within it. Then select the kind of connection needed to establish. which is OLEDB/.NET connector for the Microsoft Access database. Then one needs to select the data source path by browsing to the location where database files is placed. And lastly, click on the OK button to save the choices made. Now let's know more about the first important table of IRIS certificates database, the Ident table. The Ident table is also known as the identification table. It contains all the individual data except the causes of death. When you create this table, you must state certificate key, date of birth, date of death, and sex. Other fields will be filled by IRIS or should be set as per default table attributes. When you create your own database, add at first type and length to the new database before you import your data. Otherwise, you may lose information of your data. Now diving deep into the ident table attributes. Also know attributes can be referred as fields. The individual data section from the IRIS interface reflects must and important fields of ident table. Starting with the certificate key field. It is the primary key for ident and also equivalent of record in MedCod table with type text and length that can be customized according to the need. The age field is an alternative to date of birth and date of death but must needed field with type text as it contains age in numbers followed by years or days text. The sex field specifies sex with type text as 1 for male, 2 for female, 9 for missing data. Hence, assign the length to this field is 1. These fields certificate key, age, sex, and date death with type date or time are all must columns. The residence field has text format and the name and address fields are in the text format as well. Continuing with the list of ident table attributes present on the IRIS interface, for the manner of death, select the appropriate manner of death by clicking on one of the radio buttons on the interface. For the place of occurrence selection, a drop-down list is provided by IRIS with type being text and length 1 with a particular digit assigned to each place of occurrence. Select the appropriate one as specified on the death certificate of the deceased. The coding section stores the underlying cause of death, which is generated by IRIS using Muse function along with the related coding status and information. The autopsy, recent surgery, perinatal, and maternal death section can be used as required by the coders. The two fields, namely free text and comments, are the optional fields available to be used as desired. To know more on the IRIS certificates database tables and attributes, you can refer to the IRIS user manual. The link is present in the description box below. Now let's know more about the second important table of IRIS certificates database, the MedCod table. Before diving deeper into the MedCod table, it is important to know its full version name, that is Medical Causes of Death table. The MedCod table contains the causes of death and has one record for each line on the certificate that contains a cause of death. The two fields, certificate key and line NB, together constitute the table primary key. As seen here, the medical part section of IRIS interface reflects the MedCod table data and attributes that will be explained one by one. To start with the primary keys, here certificate key is equivalent of the record in the ident table, and line NB with type as number sets the respective integers for part 1 and 2 lines starting from 0 to 5 respectively. As shown, for example, considering certificate key from previous ident table snippet as 6 times 0 1 and line NB value to be 0 with respect to line A in part 1 together form a primary key for the MedCod table. Next, the text line attribute stores the diagnosis in free text if available. Then, interval line stores the time duration onset or status for the diagnosis in the text line field. The ICD-10 codes are stored in the code line field. They can be added by user or through Muse if text line field has valid diagnosis text stored in it. Code only field is set to 1 if MedCode record is in code only mode, and line coded field is set to 1 if MedCode record is in data entry mode. This brings us to the end of video about IRIS certificates database. So lastly, this is how one can view or traverse the records in OpenLot. By clicking on these buttons, the records can be traversed from start to end, and any valid changes or modifications performed on the records can be saved right away. In the lot section, the current certificates records index versus the total number of certificate records present in the lot named test can be seen. The information presented in this video comes mainly from the IRIS website that is available on the link presented on the slide. Please consider looking at the website for more further information on IRIS, how it is maintained, the countries implementing IRIS and engaged in the core group, and any other questions you may have. Information presented in this video on WHO ICD-10 comes from the WHO ICD website that is available on the link presented on the slide. Also, please consider looking at this website for more information on ICD-10 and ICD-11 and any questions you might have about the various versions of this mortality classification system. I hope you found this short video on IRIS helpful, and hope that you consider watching the other IRIS and informational videos we have developed and posted on the YouTube channel for the Unit for Strengthening Causes of Death data. Please stay tuned for further videos on IRIS implementation. Thank you.